Hey y'all, it is January the 4th, 2018. And y'all, we've established a lot already that it's a typical, stereotypical male in Silicon Valley. They're manipulating all sort of women through money, which is not a new thing. I mean, obviously athletes, all sort of celebrities, politicians, they've been doing this for a long time. We're aware of it. We're not so aware of Silicon Valley, and that's extremely important. In fact, it's probably the most important thing to look at, and that's why we're looking at it, all right? And we've established that all sort of sexually, what we would find to be maybe deviant, that we wouldn't participate in, is happening in Silicon Valley, and all sort of sexual orgies going on all over the place, all right? On a weekly basis, basically, all the time. We also discussed and recently just established that there was a man named Justin Colbeck, and I don't know his situation, but he got his life put on hold because of sexual allegations of his inappropriate behavior. But we're starting to see that they continue with his lifestyle choices, and it's all technically inappropriate. Technically, it's all very manipulative, especially towards young ladies. It absolutely is oppressive to young ladies, absolutely. And we've established it, but we're gonna dive a little bit further in and just read some more. It goes on. It says it was in the middle of the binary thing, Jane Doe told me, and this is by Emily Chang. She said, referring to the scandal at the VC firm, and it was so ridiculous. Doe found herself on the floor with two couples, and she's describing her own sexual exploits, including a male entrepreneur and his wife. The living room had been blanketed in plush white faux fur and pillows. Right? I'm not sure why it's faux fur, because they definitely could put out the money for actual fur, but I don't know if it's like a whole, maybe like save the environment thing. I don't know. They lay out these blankets and plush white faux fur and pillows where, as the evening wore on, several people lay down and start stroking one another. All right? If that sounds exciting to you. Doe said in what became a sizable cuddle puddle, one venture capitalist dressed up as a bunny. I'm talking about any number of things can happen. It's unclear how this fit into the edge of the Earth theme that was the theme of the party, but he was a bunny, and I wouldn't question it. And he offered Jane Doe some powder in a plastic bag. That's pretty normal in this certain scenarios. It was Molly. It was Molly, and it was crushed up. It was for sniffing it up. They said it will just make you feel relaxed, and you're going to like being touched. Yeah, you are. Doe recounted to me. Alright. Let's scroll down a little bit. Nervous, she dipped her finger into the powder. As we get into the scandalous story, she dips her finger into the powder and put it into her mouth. Soon her guard dropped. Did it? Alright. Then the male founder asked if he could kiss her. Alright, so it was so weird, she says. I'm like, your wife is just right there. Is she okay with this? The founder's wife acknowledged that yes, she was okay with that. Jane Doe, who considers herself fairly adventurous and open-minded, kissed the founder. Alright, then became uncomfortable. Oh, really? Then became uncomfortable, feeling, she probably didn't have enough Molly. She then became uncomfortable, feeling as if she was pressured or targeted. She was. All right? I don't know what I'm doing. I feel really stupid. I'm drugged up because I've never taken it before. And he knew I'd never taken it, because she said, I've never taken this drug. He was like, I don't care. We're going to take this drug. All right. She recalled. She tried to escape to a different area of the party. I felt gross because I had participated in making out with him, and then he kept trying to find me, and I kept trying to run away and hide. Alright, so that sounds very rapey, doesn't it? I remember saying to him, aren't people going to wonder? And he said, the people that know me, they know what's going on here. And the people that don't, I don't really care, is what he said. Alright, as he's chasing her around, basically trying to rape her. Before dawn, she jumped into the car and laughed. What's not okay about this scene is that it is so money and power dominated, says Jane Doe. Those are her words. That's what's not okay. I would agree with her. That's not okay at all. But anyways, it's a problem because it's an abuse of power. Yeah, I know. Obviously, we talk about that sort of stuff on this channel a lot as I scroll down. It obviously is an abuse of power. It's very unnatural. It is very unnatural. She said, I would never do it again. I would commend her for not ever wanting to do it again. And I would understand why she would never want to do it again. It's a very uncomfortable scenario. Right? So, while this particular woman felt ambushed, if it's your first time, a friend will normally fill you in. So she's kind of a rarity. People do know, people usually know and they're filled in. However, sometimes people do slip through the cracks. Very young ladies who are told nothing of this. They do slip through the cracks. They do get invited to a party. They have no idea what's about to go on. And that they're going to get ambushed, basically, is what takes place. Alright? So, while this particular woman felt ambushed, if it's your first time, a friend will normally fill you in on what you're signing up for. And you are expected to keep it to yourself. It is a secret, remember? It's all secretive. Okay. You know that if you do drugs with someone you work with, you shouldn't mention it to anybody. That is common sense, by the way. And everybody should know that. And the same goes with sex, according to this article. All right. In other words, we're not hiding anything, but actually, yeah, we're kind of hiding everything. You only get invited if you can be trusted. You understand? If you can be trusted. And if you're going to play ball, you must play ball. You can choose not to hook up with a specific person. Maybe say, ooh, that person's gross. I'd rather suck him off and jerk this guy out, but that guy's gross over here. Yeah, you could do that, but you can't not hook up with anybody. If you don't hook up with anybody, right? That's what they refer to as voyeurism. That means you're just here watching and stuff. You're judging us. You better start sucking and jerking. All right? You better get all sort of naked and slippery, dude. It's not a maybe. You're not going to get invited back at all. We got money. We got the money. Anyways, it continues. So if you don't participate, don't come in. Don't you ever come in, says one frequent attendee. Doesn't that sound like very open-minded and breaking through barriers? You know, if you're not willing to get down, start sucking and jerking, all sort of slippery, wet, and naked, well, don't you come into this party, dude. Don't you ever come. So, if you don't participate, don't come in, says one of the frequent attendees, whom I will call Founder X, an ambitious world-traveling entrepreneur. And let's just read a little bit more before we close this one out. All the stuff that we're learning. All the stuff that, not only that we're learning, but we're just being confirmed as everything we knew is happening. And these certain industries that's just not talked about. Oh, that's not newsworthy. We shouldn't talk about that. We shouldn't tell little children that this is absolutely the case. That way to save them the embarrassment. We shouldn't tell them that. We should tell them to be all-inclusive and open-minded. Anyways, let's read on a little bit further. They don't necessarily see themselves as predatory. We're talking about the founders and the people who are all running these parties. They don't necessarily see themselves as predatory. When they look in the mirror, they see individuals setting a new paradigm. Do you hear it? It's being repeated. This is absolutely what they believe. They see themselves as individuals setting a new paradigm of behavior by pushing the boundaries of social mores and values. They're virtuous in this sense, and they're pioneers, and they should be not only respected but coveted for their work in opening everybody's sexual mores and values. All right, so they're good. They're good for that reason. What's making this possible is the same progressiveness and open-mindedness that allows us to be creative and disruptive about ideas. And that's another thing. Like I said, these people refer to themselves running these sexual parties is not only adventurous and open-minded, but they're actually they're opening doors for people. And not only sexually speaking, but in the technological world. They're basically above us in the way that they're more creative. So they're opening all sorts of doors for us, not only in technology, but they might as well do it sexually. All right, they're pushing our boundaries. They're letting us know what free is. They're freeing us from our chains. this is what they believe, and they keep telling you that they believe it. All right, so this is a private party where, oh wait, hold on, I think I skipped one. When I asked him about a Jane Doe's experience, she asked him about it. He said this is a private party where powerful people want to get together, and there are a lot of women and a lot of people who are fucked up. That's his quote, that's his words, who are fucked up. At any party, there can be a situation where people cross the line. You understand? Where people, it's not rare for people to cross the line. Somebody fucked up. Somebody crossed the line. But that's not an indictment on the cuddle puddle. He says, don't worry that people are getting all sexually abused and harassed inside the cuddle puddle. It's not the cuddle puddle's fault. Why would you say that? It's what he said. He just said it. He said, doesn't that happen everywhere? It's worth asking. However, if these sexual adventures are so progressive, why do these parties seem to lean so heavily towards male heterosexual fantasies? I want to dwell upon that because there'll be a sentiment a lot of feminists would be wondering at this point. How come if this is so progressive, well then how come it's so geared towards the male pleasure and not so much the women pleasure? And it is geared a lot towards male advancement and not female advancement. That's what some people would be asking. Why is that? Why is that? If y'all so progressive, y'all so open-minded, how come ladies keep getting held down but men aren't? All right, well, let's continue. Women are often expected to be involved in threesomes that include other women. Male gay and bisexual behavior is conspicuously absent. All right, and I want to discuss that. Before we close out, we're going to continue. We're going to read the rest of this paragraph. But I want to discuss real quickly that women are often expected to be involved in threesomes that include other women. Male and gay bisexual behavior is conspicuously absent. Those are very crucial words that Emily Chang used. She used the exact right words. She said conspicuously absent. I want to remind you, there's all sort of varied parties. There's tech parties where it's all men. Remember? And you know, they're discussing technological things. They're discussing the technological aspects. All right. There's other parties where they're getting sucked and jerked off, and it's an orgy, and they have all sort of money, and they're doing it in mansions and stuff. They're bringing in all sort of ladies. All right. There's some that are over the top this way. There are some that are in between, like you don't know that it's happening, but it might be happening in another room. It probably is. There are these parties. You might stumble across them. There's all sort of parties. What I want to just let you know, and the article's not going to dive into it, is there's absolutely parties in which people, they're popping the mollies and get down all homosexually. There absolutely is. Alright, there's some participants in these open-minded events and these orgies who absolutely go to orgies that are nothing but dudes. That are all dudes. And they're all popping the mollies and feeling real good and rubbing up on each other. They're not going to tell you about it. They're not even going to tell the heterosexual orgy people about it. That in itself is going to be a secret inside of a secret. They're absolutely having homosexual orgies, but that's a secret inside of a secret. There's many, many secrets. There's many layers to the secret. All right? And before we finish out this video, what I want to tell you is that not only are there homosexual orgies as well, but those are secretive. Those are extra special secret. You would call those top secret. Alright, not only is there that, but you got to understand when it comes to open-mindedness, this sexual adventurism, it doesn't stop at homosexual orgies. Believe it or not. With these people and all their power and all their money and all their perversion, it doesn't stop at homosexual orgies, even though that's not mentioned in this article. It doesn't stop there. It actually, believe it or not, it does dive into exactly what you already know it dives into. Type of orgies. And that's even more secretive. Understand? It goes from heterosexual orgies where all these women are being kept down to homosexual orgies in which those people ain't even going to hear about that. That's extra special secret. And then you go even further into the inner circles of these people with ungodly amounts of money, and you are going to find pedophilia orgies. For sure. All right. We're gonna read further in this article, and that's gonna become more apparent that these people, they don't have a line. There's never a line. There is never a line that crosses into what is unacceptable. However, there are different various lines about what you're supposed to shut your mouth about. All right, so it is real deep, but let's go ahead and finish out this paragraph. All right. Women are, like I said, expected to have threesomes. It's oddly, the male gay bisexual behavior is conspicuously absent among all these feminine men. Oddly, it's completely unthinkable. It's completely unthinkable. Nobody would ever think about that guys would be bisexual or curious while they're popping all the mollies. Right? Says one VC who attends and is married. I'll call him the married VC, says Emily Chang. It's a total double standard. In other words, at these parties, men don't make out with other men. Not at the parties Emily Chang's heard about. That doesn't happen. Not about the parties she's heard about. But that doesn't happen. In other words, at these parties, men don't make out with other men. And outside of the new types of drugs, these stories might have come out of the Playboy Mansion circa 1972. This is what this founder wants you to know for sure. He comes out to the person writing the article, Emily Chang, and says, look, the gay, there's no gay stuff going on here. I swear of it. There's no bisexual curiosity. I swear of it. That doesn't happen. Absolutely, it does happen. But you got to understand, this is coming from a person who quite naturally is trying to keep secrets. He tells you right up front, everybody here is trying to keep secrets. But we're going to tell you some of the secrets. We're not going to tell you all of them. All right, but we're finding out there's a whole bunch of secrets here. A whole bunch of secrets. Anyways, we're going to continue. This is January the 4th, 2018, and I'll holler at y'all in a second.